Welcome to another episode of Quarantine Catch Up on the One Shot channel. Today we have a very special guest. She's a great friend and a woman of many talents, Olivia Klein. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it
How you doing
going?
today? I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing okay, stuck inside because it's really rainy out, but yeah, just hanging out today.
That's good. Good. Um,
Yeah.
I know that you had to go through school with all this quarantine stuff going on, and it's been a difficult transition between going from your normal everyday classes, seeing all your friends and all that. How has COVID really affected your schooling to start off the show?
Yeah, honestly, not gonna lie, it was really difficult to
Hmm.
transition. You were a broadcasting TV major. And so a lot of our classes, even at UNL, like it's very similar where it's based in the classroom. Like
Hmm.
it's very hard to do those things online, especially when it's surrounding equipment and group projects and
Everything's very
like being
hands on.
extremely hands on.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of felt gypped of the experience of like
Hmm.
learning how to use like the good cameras that we were going to work with, audio things that we were going to do. One of my classes, it was an audio class where each person had a designated hour to like work in the radio station.
That's really
And
cool.
so the radio station is like a little bit different than it was at Seton Hall at Lincoln.
Okay.
It's automated, so you're just kind of like doing buttons. Like you're not. It doesn't require a team as it does for WSOU. But like I was getting really into it, and I
Yeah, of
loved it, and
course.
like had friends and family tuning in when it was my 2 hours. And then it was like obviously we're not on campus. You can't really work at the radio station
Yeah.
anymore. So like that was a big bummer for me. And then also just like I don't know, I'm a procrastinator at heart,
Aren't
and
we all? It's
not
great.
having, yeah, honestly, and not the like having the set schedule of like, okay, well, like you have to go into class and like see your professor, have your shit together, have your assignments done. So I found myself like, I don't think I turned in an assignment on time when we went online, like at all. So I had to
Yeah.
email them and be like, I'm struggling. But I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, like I got really lucky with my professors being super, super understanding.
Of
Um,
course.
and like a lot of them were like, oh, there's no late penalties anymore. Just kind of like be proud of the work that you're doing and
Hmm.
get it done and get it in when you can. But I learned one thing
And what's
from my
that?
audio class.
Yeah.
So like obviously they had like booths where you could go in and like
Hmm.
use a nice mic and stuff to do like some of the projects that we were doing. So an old friend of mine taught me this. I used my phone for the audio assignment, but I like sat underneath a blanket in my closet.
Yeah.
Our walls are really thin. So I was like, well, there's a little tip and trick you can use at home when you need to record something. So yeah,
Hey,
that's
that's the way you got
my,
to do it, right? You got to make sure there's no echo, make sure there's nothing else going on in there. I'm
yeah.
sure the professors were also struggling, so thankfully that they were lenient for you. Um, Now that everything's over, the semester's over, summer's here, do you feel a sense of relief? Are you doing anything new and special?
hmm Um, Again, it was like kind of weird to end the semester and have the transition to summer because it
Hmm.
was like nothing in my day to day routine really changed. I mean,
Yeah.
like going into the online classes, I didn't really have Zoom like meetings or anything. It was just kind of like a running tab of like, okay, finish these things and then you're just done.
Yeah.
So I kind of lost the sense of like, oh, I like accomplished something
Yeah.
like from January to May. Usually there's just like a feeling in the air of like, we did it, like it's over
For
kind of
sure.
thing. And then now it's just like, oh, it's summer, but it doesn't really feel like summer, I guess. So, I mean, like, I'm definitely relieved to have finished with the grades that I got. I'm like proud of myself for that because again, like I did struggle with the transition.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's definitely not your average summer where
You're enjoying
like
all the fun and you really
yeah,
get that sense of accomplishment, like you were saying, and going on to hang out with friends and all this stuff, but we're still inside and having to deal with everything like that. Um,
it's
has
kind
it
of weird
been?
too. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
it's also like, I don't know, I have a lot of like trademark like summer activities
Yeah.
that involve like music, concerts, outdoor events that have obviously and like rightfully been canceled. So
Yeah.
I've gone to Summerfest, which is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Okay.
the world's longest and largest music festival. And obviously it had to be postponed. So that's not until like September now, but it's just like that is such a staple in my summer
Yeah.
that like it just, I don't know. Sometimes people are like, you have like those, I guess like Christmas or like New Year's could be like, oh, I always reflect around this time of like where I was last year during this
Oh,
time.
for
But
sure.
like
Yeah.
my like staple, like every year this happens, and every year I just get like nostalgic around this time because I was just like such a different person at last year's Summerfest. Like,
Hmm.
if that makes sense, I guess. I don't know.
I totally get what you're saying. A lot of people have been posting on like Snapchat memories and everything like that of what they were doing last year, being on
Yeah.
vacation and all this different stuff. So I totally get that. For this festival, were there any bands that you're specifically looking to watch?
Well, I mean, last year they had Lizzo, they had the Sticks. Who else do I see? It all kind of blends together, like what years I saw what
Hmm.
bands. But I've seen Foreigner. Like it's such a weird festival because like the artists are all over the board, and like I have a pretty expansive like taste in music, so I
Hmm.
just enjoy it a lot because I'm running from like T-Pain to like Kansas, and I'm like,
Perfect.
how does this add up? But I still enjoy it. So,
It's
but
like
they
listening
didn't
on
like
shuffle.
release a lineup. Yeah, honestly, yeah,
So they didn't release a lineup.
no, they didn't this
Gotcha.
year. Yeah,
Were there any other concerts that you're looking forward to this summer that might have been postponed or canceled?
so many, Tommy.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I especially when I'm home in Omaha, like the
Hmm.
music scene here is fantastic, and you can any night of the week find somewhere to go.
Hmm.
Whether that's just kind of like a dive bar or like outside, there's always something. And so again, one of those like trademark staple like summer moments that I live for is Jazz on the Green, is what they call it. And it's just like this huge thing that happens every Thursday down in our Midtown area.
Okay.
And it's like outdoors or whatever, and they have like vendors. There's like bubble tea that you can get, and like food everywhere. And so that's been canceled, which just kind of sucks because it was always like, you can always rely on like Thursday nights meeting up with people. You never know who you're gonna see, but you always run into someone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
that was a
know.
big one that hurts.
I'm sure it does. It's tough when you have. It's almost like a routine for you at this point, and now that routine's being chopped at, and it's tough. But you'll get through it, and hopefully those bands and everything like that will be ready once everything's cleared up, and you'll get to enjoy it again.
Right.
I know you're in a band. I know you have a band with your friends and everything like that.
Yes,
Have you
yes.
guys been doing any work together during this quarantine, trying to write songs, trying to at least talk to each other to make sure that when everything comes back into normal, you guys are ready?
Yeah, yeah. So I had a band last summer that was comprised of kind of friends my own age.
Hmm.
And we kind of did like a 2.0 version of that,
Okay.
switched around some people, some roles. So we're actually looking for a new band name. If you have any
Okay.
recommendations, hit me up. Something really weird, like
Mouse
we're
rat.
not mouse rat.
Yeah.
That
It's already
no,
taken. No, I
that's
know.
taken. Yeah, something fresh, something funky, you know.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, we've been kind of starting this band in the quarantine
Okay.
situation, which is
Hmm.
difficult to navigate. But we've all worked together in the past in some capacity, so we're very familiar with each other, and our strengths, weaknesses, like what our sound is going to be. We kind of
Yeah.
know. But yeah, we just recently finished recording a cover of a song because that's kind of all we can do right now.
Yeah.
Because like I'm personally not comfortable like with a full band practice yet.
Hmm.
At somebody's house, just kind of like, again, what's the point? Because we're not doing live performances.
Yeah.
I know a lot of bands have like done the live stream, which I think is wonderful, but I think that's
Hmm.
also for like bands that kind of have their shit together. Like we already have a set.
You're starting to
Why?
figure stuff out and everything like that. So it's tough to put on those stream concerts like a lot of people are doing.
Yeah,
Um,
Do you know Max DeMarco?
I know the name, yes.
Yeah, we just recorded One More Love Song. And
Okay,
so a lot of the guys in the band have pretty nice recording equipment. So we
great.
all kind of recorded our parts, and then like they're mixing it together right now.
Hmm.
And then we'll kind of release that as like a little teaser, like here's like we're all together in a band now. And we'll have some content coming soon. I think we have a little retreat scheduled later on to do some songwriting,
Hmm.
vision planning, like what are we doing in the future kind of thing. So good things coming on that end
Well,
soon.
that's really great to hear. And everything is like putting together pieces of a puzzle. It's same thing with broadcasting and everything like that too. And this is just a little tweak, an inconvenient tweak to a certain extent, but it's still just a little tweak on taking a little bit from each person, coming up with that collective idea and putting it together. I'm sure it's going to come out great, and I'm sure everybody's going to be excited to listen to it when it finally comes out.
For
Um,
sure.
what have you been listening to during the quarantine? I know we've been sharing a ton of music together, and as you said, you love listening to music and everything. So, what have you been listening to?
Okay, good question. Um, so I kind of like just use my Discover Weekly
Hmm.
and will like hear a song that I like and add it to my liked songs
Okay.
category because I'm a Spotify gal. Like
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Apple Music people, get out. Like
That's me.
honestly, get out, Tommy. Get out. Oh no, Spotify's where it's at. But so I'm really bad at making playlists. So I just have this running list of now I think it's like 640 songs or something
Perfect.
that I just have in my like liked songs
Yeah.
category. So I'm really bad at knowing like the artists that I'm
Hmm.
listening to. I just have like a running list of songs, but a
Okay.
couple returners on the list. Clairo.
Okay.
Have you heard of her?
I have not.
Really? Okay,
I'm open to everything, as you know. So.
I felt kind of basic listening to that because I mean, like, I don't know, not to diss on anybody that likes Claro, but I was like, seems a little normy for my
Hmm.
taste, but you can't deny it. She's got bops. Like, it's good stuff. So yeah, Claro's on the list. I'm a Claro stan now.
Good.
Who else is there? Oh, okay, Eloise. She's kind of like knockoff Claro.
Interesting.
Yeah. Um, she only has 4 songs recorded on Spotify, and I haven't done
Mm,
any like digging to know if she's done any other music, but the 4 songs she has recorded are
bangers.
very good.
That's great.
I actually, before this, was trying to make a playlist for you of like
Oh,
the songs I was going to talk about so I could like drop the link. I don't know if you can do that in Zoom, but like have Spotify link come up.
maybe drop it into the description for
Drop it
the
into the
video
description.
so that everybody can listen with us.
So go check it out. Everybody listening.
There you go.
Um, but I'll make that of all the
Great.
songs we
I
talk about.
appreciate that.
You're welcome. But yeah, so Eloise is one that I really like. She has good stuff. Um, and then Max and Marco, who I
Hmm.
mentioned, um, he's got a vibey type feel. I've been really just like listening to like chill music just to
Yeah.
kind of accompany the feelings of I don't know. It's been really rainy here, and just like the kind of gloomy
Just
feelings
trying to
of
relax. I get it. It's trying to, whether it's something
yeah,
uplifting to get you out of the funk of quarantine or something to make you feel what's happening in quarantine. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with a sad song or a deeper song to make you just like be in the moment and kind of embrace what's happening. So I totally understand that.
true, very true. On the lighter side or more like jammy side, have you heard
Mhm.
of I'm gonna mispronounce it, but Kruangabin?
Can't say I have. This is all new
Kru
music for me, so I'm excited to research this afterwards.
Kruangabin? I don't know. I there's different people say it different ways, but they've got like a I don't know how to describe. It's more like harsher Tame Impala ish,
Interesting. Okay. I'm down for it.
with the same like progressions of like music, but
Mhm.
it's just like a little bit more raw and less like electronica. Do you know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
I'm
dumb,
very
but
down
like
for that.
that's just my interpretation. Um, So they have an EP out with Leon Bridges, and they've got
He's
some
great.
bops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's definitely great.
yeah. My fave is Texas Sun. That's a good song.
I mean, everybody I think knows his song River, and that song is amazing.
Take me to your river. Okay, we can cut that out. But yeah. And then my jam of quarantine is a song called Drive Away by the Brummies.
I've heard of them.
Featuring Casey Musgrave.
So it's a little more folky?
Yeah, a little bit. It's just so good. There's, sometimes when you listen to a song and it just like realigns your chakras.
Yeah. You just feel like you're in the right place at the right time and you're at peace.
Yeah, literally. And it's called Drive Away. And again, like one of the things I've been doing in quarantine is just like my sister and I will get in the car, and we live around like quite a few lakes. Like they're man-made lakes. It's not anything like, too exciting, but we'll just like, there's parking lots and we'll just like kind of go sit and look at the lake. But that's a good one to like listen to in the car while you're driving and chilling in nature.
There's nothing better than those car rides that you have with friends or family that you're just no destination, you're putting on music, you're all jamming out, the windows are down, you're singing your heart out. And I mean, everybody has that playlist of like something that they could just keep going to, and that's really nice that you have that with your sister, and you've been taking advantage of that during the quarantine.
Yeah. I'll add some bops to the playlist I'm gonna make.
Oh, great. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So what has drawn you to music? I mean, we've been talking about it so far the entire way, and obviously it's a big influence on who you are. Is it your parents? Is it just something you listened to when you were younger and you're like, I need this, I need more of this in my life?
Yeah, it's definitely, music's been something that's been involved in my life for as long as I can remember. I do have a relative who has claim to fame, so that is also, I don't know what that does for me, but it makes me feel cool.
Spark.
But it's a little spark, yeah. Her name's Susan Gibson, and it's my mom's cousin. And she actually, do you know the song Wide Open Spaces?
Yeah.
Yeah, she wrote that song.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like worked with the Dixie Chicks and stuff.
That's
so, like,
really cool.
That was always cool, and like that's on my mom's side. And her dad has like been in bands, played guitar, like is very, very heavily in music. So growing up with them, they kind of realized that I was like, had the little performer spark in me.
Yeah.
So they encouraged me to get involved with a program called School of Rock, which is like, I'm sure you've heard of the movie Jack Black.
Of course.
Love of
a
my
king.
Life. A true king. Tommy, you kind of look like Jack Black.
Oh, I don't know how to take that, but thank you.
We'll just put it out there. It doesn't have to mean anything. But
that's fine.
We'll
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
But it's actually, School of Rock's like a program. So basically what it is, it's like a youth program for young musicians who want to like do individual instrument instruction, and then once you've kind of like proved that you can hold your own in a band setting, they will put you into like, I don't know what the system is now, but like back in my day when I was in it as like a 7th grader through sophomore year, you had kind of like themed shows. So like there was probably like 15 people so it wasn't like a band, but it was like you played as a band. Like it's very hard to explain.
Just like a jam session between all these talented people.
Exactly. With like, you were assigned certain songs.
Okay.
So like my favorite one that I did was Dark Side of the Moon. So like I got to sing Breathe and then Money and stuff like that. So like we would do a show for like parents, friends, families in bars and stuff like that. So I was pretty exposed to like the not underground music scene, but like, I mean, when you say concert now, like I think of very small, intimate setting. Like I wouldn't pay $100+ to go to the.
Yeah, like, I know what you're saying. All those little gatherings. I mean, my first concerts were like that too. Just going to whatever it was, a small restaurant, a small bar, a bowling alley. There's a bunch of different types of places that you could listen to new music, and it's really great that you got that experience. What I know you're a great singer. What instruments could you play?
Well,
Or
I
what are you
got
trying to learn at least?
right. My grandpa that I talked about
Hmm.
got me a guitar like years ago, and I took lessons for a very short while
Hmm.
and learned like the very basics of like how your hand should be placed. Like your wrist can't
Hmm.
be a certain way, otherwise like you'll damage it or have like it just you need to learn the technique first.
Hmm.
Like I know very basic things from a professional, I guess. Like I took lessons, I'll consider them a professional,
Yeah.
I guess. But so yeah, like it's a little frustrating because I feel like I know chords. Like if you gave me like a song on like an app or whatever, that's kind of what I do to
Yeah.
the guitar. It's like I'll hear a song and be like, oh, like I want to learn that.
Hmm.
And I'll know the chords. But right now I'm trying to figure out the best way to learn theory. And I
Okay.
didn't do like music classes in high school that taught theory. Like I did choir, but again,
Hmm.
I kind of relied on like being a singer at heart, like just hearing it and reciprocating it.
Hmm.
I didn't really truly understand the solfege, key signature type
Yeah.
things.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to learn scales on the guitar,
Okay.
figuring out like how to best apply myself for learning like music theory on the guitar. And I
So,
think too, like
mhm.
maybe piano would be beneficial. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I totally understand that. I mean, you see someone like a Jacob Collier that we both like, and he's essentially like a prodigy on the piano, playing with harmonies and everything like that. And that's stuff that
Yeah.
you kind of pick up from being a natural talent, but getting deeper into it will make that just sudden tweak that you need to get to the next level. Um, when did you realize that you had that natural talent with singing and everything? And when do you think for yourself you got to the next level? And when do you think you'll get even further than that, like from where you are now?
It's really difficult because I feel like I've gone through so many different like singing phases
Hmm.
and like confidences. And I've also
Okay.
just been through literally almost every genre of
Hmm.
music I've sang, at least at one point. So it's like it's changed with the group of people I'm singing with, the setting. Like I've also done again like choirs, show choirs, band situations,
Hmm.
um, things like that. So I don't know. It's very different. Like because I received not like a lot of praise, but like I would audition for a solo in middle school and usually would get it, or like I was able to do like the higher level stuff when I was younger.
Okay.
And then in high school, it was also kind of similar with like musicals. Like I would usually I got a lead once, and so I felt like much more confident when I was younger. And then it
Hmm.
was kind of college where I took a step back and realized like I ain't shit. And so I've really been trying to learn like healthy ways to sing. Also, like I've
Of
I've never
course.
done serious vocal lessons or anything like that.
Hmm.
Versus my sister who has, and she's 4 years younger than me and also just
Hmm.
loves to sing. And I can just like tell in her voice like the different approaches we have
Okay.
from like I don't know, singing on the streets versus like being in a like trained environment,
Of
having like
course.
vocal recitals and learning techniques.
Hmm.
So I don't know. My next goal for myself would be to I don't know. Right now I feel stuck of like fear of continuing to sing, especially because I have had the realizations of like obviously there are people that are going to be better at you than everything you do.
Yeah.
And so I've like been stuck on that for a while, which has kind of held me back from like doing all the things I want to do, especially with
Hmm.
like supporting myself with an instrument and doing like
Yeah.
individual stuff is very
Hmm.
scary for me.
Of course.
So my goals for the future is to like be able to write some of my own stuff
Hmm.
and like post it without fear of being like, I know it's not the best in the world, but it's still the best that I can do.
Exactly. Something I mean, I like to say is if you have nerves about something, it's because you care about it. So obviously you have this drive to want to continue with music, but being scared of what's the next step and where can it actually lead you, I think it's actually a good thing. I know it's something that's holding you back right now, but that's what's going to propel you to that next step if you really wanted to hone your skills and everything like that. So it's okay that you're in that position, but if you're willing, keep that drive, keep that emotion of loving this art form so much, and you never know where this could take you. Something that I really enjoyed that you said earlier is that you've sang in just about every genre. What are some of your favorite genres to sing in, and what have you been recently doing with your band, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. I like this story or this memory keeps popping up in my mind about like the first concert I ever did
Hmm.
for like band situation. It was again with School of Rock, and the theme, so like either they did like an album that you covered or like some type of theme where all the songs like are in that genre.
Okay.
So it was 80s, like that was
Hmm.
the theme of the show. And so I sang Highway to the Danger Zone
Oh, a
by
classic.
yeah, Kenny Loggins, right?
Loggins, yeah.
Loggins.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I don't know what was wrong with me, but I decided to wear all neon.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God, right?
That's
But no,
performer in
because
you.
it is the performer in me, but the musicians, like, there's such a, I've also realized with my interest overlapping between like acting,
Hmm.
performing, and musician, not one and the same, not at all.
Interesting.
And so, like, the performer in me versus the musicians on stage, a very clear divide. And so I was just like up there in neon, and everybody else was just kind of like vibing out, and I'm like, highway to the danger zone, and everybody's like, can you just fucking sing the song, like, please? So I mean, I've again like learned a lot from where I started versus where I am. Um, but there's obviously room to grow. And I mean, like some of my highlights have been so like after School of Rock, the next phase I did was Blues Ed. And it's
Hmm.
kind of just like elevated School of Rock where you're in a real band with high schoolers, sometimes middle schoolers. And they try to like have a focus on blues music, but like you can
Okay.
be expansive with that. And so the band that I was in with that, we actually went to the International Blues Challenge,
That's awesome.
yeah, in Memphis. And those, like singing blues, I think is where I'll end up just because I feel like it's the most freeing genre for
Okay.
myself.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes when I sing, like I'm really bad at genre description, but like not jazz, but like do you know like the kind of music
That
we
nice
listen to?
mix. Yeah. No, I totally
Yeah.
know what you're
Do you
talking
know what
about.
I mean? Like I don't want to say indie because it's not indie.
I
It's not
mean, there's a little
alternative.
indie in it, but like
Like indie alternative mix mashup type things.
I know exactly what you're talking about because that's essentially what I've been listening to for the past 6 months.
Right.
It's that there's a little funk to it. There's a little
Yeah, yeah.
raspiness to it in some of the
Hmm.
vocals. There's just a little bit of everything, but it's all centered within that sweet spot of blues, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. But I feel like the core of blues is like there's just kind of like a blueprint,
Hmm.
but you can leave the blueprint and kind of like follow your own path as the music moves you, which I enjoy, vocally at least, versus like when you sing things like Jacob Collier or like even Leanne, you
Hmm.
have to be very, very precise, particular, accurate,
Hmm.
which again is like that's the challenge. Whereas sometimes I just want to like vocalize and whatever the hell
Go on your
comes out.
runs and do.
Yeah.
It's like a jazz band. It's like you never know what the solo is going to be, but it comes to you, and you're
Hmm.
really following that run. You're following that flow, and I think that's a lot of fun, and that's what makes jazz so interesting, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of Jacob Collier's stuff is jazz, but because he's so honed in on what he wants and everything like that, it is hyper specific, like you're saying.
Hmm.
But I think that's really interesting, and if you could be better in a certain genre, what do you think you would want to be better at?
Probably the like again, core of jazz is like how accurate and like precise it is. Like I struggle with not doing like a scoop or a run to like end a thing, which is sometimes difficult because the other people that I play with or sing with are just like very trained and very good at being able to do that kind of stuff. Which again, like when my band just recorded for a song, like I don't know, it was just like difficult to hear myself in a recording because I usually don't prefer to do that. I would much rather just do the show live and let it exist in the memory of people rather than like having the recording of me.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah. So having like only recordings to work with right now, that was the challenge of being accurate and knowing that this is now like online forever.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And that's how I feel with Sammy Ray and the Friends. I feel like as much as I love their studio stuff, their live stuff is really what brings me to them. And again, she's great at runs. She's great at using her voice as just another part of the instruments that they have within their collective band. And I think if it's something that you work towards, obviously you're going to get there. But I think that's something that a lot of people are drawn to, of having that creative live performance. And some people are better. I mean, another band that I really look to towards live performances over studio is Young the Giant. That's more of the indie alternative like you're talking about. Where their studio stuff has a lot of different production aspects that I don't personally care for, but they have a YouTube playlist called In the Open, where they're essentially just playing their music in different rooms or outside or whatever it is. And I think it just sounds so much cleaner and so much more fun. And you get their love for music just by hearing them. And some people you get that in the studio, some people you get that live. And I hope you get to do great in both. But if you thrive in the live sections, then keep going with that.
Yeah. One of my favorite like places to find that mix and balance of like kind of in the studio, kind of live situation is Tiny Desk.
Yes. And the Tiny Desk concerts that have been coming out during quarantine have been amazing.
So good. And it's just like, I don't know, it's inspiring to just be like because some of the artists like are big name artists.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There. Like Lizzo, Harry Styles, all the angels of our music world.
Yeah.
And you hear them in their recordings or whatever, and then they get into a little bit more intimate space and it just feels so raw, and you're like, okay, they're human too, and they like start here and then that's how their music gets to where it gets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally get what you mean. And I like that NPR, if they mess up, they keep it in. And it really shows that they are normal people just trying to make their own music. I think that happened with Sylvan Esso, with their recent Tiny Desk at Home. They tried to start one song and accidentally had the beats on a different song, and they just said, oh, just give us a second and we'll go right back into it. And it still sounded beautiful and everything like that because they're very talented. So that's the fun part of the live quality of things. Like you've played guitar, I've played a little bit of guitar, and you could tell when there's a little bit of feedback that's a little bit wrong. If you're not playing it perfectly, there's that little tinge in a certain chord or a certain string. But that's some of the fun stuff that's coming through music. And a lot of people used to record that way, and now everything's very hyper clean and auto-tune and everything like that. Have you played with auto-tune? Have you played with that hyper performance when it comes to instruments within your bands in the past?
Personally, I've never heard my voice with auto-tune. We like, again, I'm not super familiar with like how the production happens like on the computer with those high-tech systems and
people are
programs.
There for that. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's
but
their talent.
I mean, like, I recorded with one of my bandmates who has like, he's got it going on. Like he built his own vocal booth.
Oh, that's awesome.
For like to record me. He has like the shields up for drums. Like, he knows what the heck he's doing.
That's
And
awesome.
he just graduated high school. Like,
Oh, good for him.
he's the next
That's
Jacob
great.
Collier. But so like I heard though how my voice went from like, oh sorry,
Oh, you're fine.
I heard how my voice went from in the studio, or I guess like in real life, to the systems, like in the track or whatever, and then even more elevated, like there's like compressors that you put on the voice, a little bit of reverb. And like when I do live stuff, usually when you do a mic check, they'll ask if you want those kinds of things on your voice. I usually refrain from it just because I think, again, I prefer a little bit of like raw, how it sounds is how it sounds from the body, you know? And again, it's hard to like think of the voice as an instrument because it is literally like in your body. You can't just like,
Yeah. It's not
buy
something
a
you
new
necessarily play. It's something that just happens.
within. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting and weird to think about with like drummers can buy a new set or like have a new cymbal that makes a certain sound. Whereas like with the voice, it's like you have to be very healthy with it. But like, I don't know, you can do such weird things like on your own without the effects.
Yeah,
And like
for
trying
sure.
to do that on my own.
I get what you're saying. Have you ever thought of doing an a cappella album for like yourself, or just like making a song of you doing little sounds in here and there? Because I know you're also a performer, so doing that little stuff in between, I think, would be fun.
You know, I would love to, just from the inspiration that Kimbra has on me and her use of
That's
acapella.
exactly what I was thinking of too.
Yeah. But I kind of have a vendetta against acapella these days. So it might be a while before I do the whole acapella thing. I'm gonna try the instrument side of music first.
Yeah, there's a whole new world on the other side. It just takes some time.
Honestly, very much so. I'm trying to think of like, I feel like there's another group that used oh, it was the video I sent you, the Bensons.
Yes.
He pulls out.
Yeah, I thought
That was
that chorus
sick.
was great. Yeah.
That song, I don't know. Again, aligned my chakras. Like, that was a good one. So I mean, like, in that aspect, I think it's really cool to like layer your own voice.
Yeah.
With the accompaniment of instruments and stuff.
We've been talking about that the whole time of Jacob Collier, and he just won a Grammy for his Moon River rendition, which is a cappella. And it's so interesting what you can do with a voice. And I remember hearing Don't Worry, Be Happy for the first time and being like, oh, that's all just coming out of someone's mouth. That's unbelievable. And some people just have that talent, and good for them, you know? As I said at the top of this show, you're a woman of many talents. Not only do you do music, you're an actress, you're a performer, and all that stuff. Of those things, where do you say you're most comfortable? Where do you want to go moving forward in the future?
That is such a hard question because, like, I think about that all the time of, like, if I had to, I don't know, I'd play 6 scenarios in my head, like, which would I give up, acting or singing?
Yeah.
Which I don't know why I think about that, but I do. And it's so difficult because my experience with acting has now bled into my love and dedication to collegiate speech. With, I mean, they don't call it acting, it's more interpretation, where you are performing the stories and the words of other people in your own body. And so it's a much more intimate experience than what I had previously done of like play acting, stage acting, where it's like Shakespeare, whatever, which I mean, again, is like, it can be very emotional and taxing and like transformative for a person. But like with speech, there's usually some type of like social message, action oriented. And so like that has really changed my outlook of like acting. Which one
for
do I
better
think
or for
I'm
worse?
More for better. Better. I really enjoy doing that stuff. And it's so difficult.
You don't have to choose right now.
Think about it. But I want to. Like, I want to have an answer for you. But I mean, I think long term though, I think there's more opportunities for myself and what I can do in the music world.
Okay.
Rather than like acting, you kind of need to be doing that full time. Whereas music, you can have a band on the side or like do your covers at
Mm-hmm.
night and book a gig for the weekends. Whereas I
Mm-hmm.
feel like acting, like, I don't know, it's pretty difficult to do that alone unless you got like a
You
one
have to be
woman show
everywhere at the
pitch.
drop of a dime, and you have to like
Yeah,
get to auditions and whatever it may be like that. It's not like making
yeah.
music where you could do it right here, you know?
And it also kind of sucks because again, like the only like show productions that I've been in were high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's like I don't know how to get back into it, even though I do really miss like stage acting.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they require you to bring in resumes and like stuff like that. So I'm like, I haven't had experience in a really long time with stage
Yeah.
acting. And a lot of people don't really know about forensics acting and like what
Mm-hmm.
that actually means, speech forensics. But again, like I feel like I'm sharpening my skills of acting, but that doesn't really translate on a resume to somebody that's strictly theater. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I understand that.
Yeah.
Um, Going into speech and debate, I know you've done great in many um, conferences and things of that nature. I've been watching a ton of stuff on whether it's Instagram, YouTube, of actors doing monologues from different things and posting them online for everybody to see, whether it's Dylan O'Brien redoing something from The Social Network that Andrew Garfield did, or Andrew Scott doing a monologue from a certain poem, or Vincent D'Onofrio also doing something based off some literary work that I don't remember off the top of my head. But have you thought about doing that in whether it's your own room, basement, wherever it may be, of filming yourself as practice to do a certain monologue or getting the movements down and things like that? Is that something you focus on during speech and debate?
When I'm in the season, absolutely. Like I'll record myself doing the piece that I've kind of like created and constructed
Mm-hmm.
as like an outside of speech thing. I've never actually thought about it, but now that you say it, like in my experience with speech and debate, I've also like opened the door to my love of poetry
Mm-hmm.
and dabbling in that kind of genre of the acting, literature, artsy realm. I love reading it. I try to write it.
Yeah,
It's not very
it's
good,
tough.
but it's therapeutic and it's fun.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be really really fun to do a kind of like poetry reading performance type thing eventually. I mean, I think like I've gone to a few like poetry open mics.
Mm-hmm.
I've never read anything, but it's really fun to watch
Yeah.
and hear kind of how people use words
Mm-hmm.
on the like off the paper, and it becomes like about the words that they're saying, but also the delivery is
Of
super
course.
important,
Yeah.
and that's the part that I kind of appreciate and admire the most about it.
Yeah, I've totally thought about doing that as well through Seton Hall's open mics and things like that. But like you're saying, it's something that you really build the nerves of, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to put out for everybody.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
definitely stuff that I've thought of. Um, Someone that recently, especially, has been putting out something in both the broadcasting and music thing has been Billie Eilish. She just put out her short film uh, of her, I think it's Respect My Body message and everything like that, while also putting together great music that she puts together with her brother Phineas. Have you thought of kind of melding the two together and making a career off of that? Because um, there's always room for these creative minds to work together towards this bigger goal of melding two different things. I know you've been very talented in both. Do you think you could do that? Or would you want to do that?
I didn't even know Billie Eilish had done that, which is
Mm-hmm.
really awesome. And I do like try to think about how to incorporate all of these interests, passions of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and like how to continue this in my career. And again, I really like I have an idea of like where I want to go, where I want to end up, but again, it's like I couldn't tell you specific like job title,
Oh, of course.
company,
I still
like
can't
it's
do that either.
right. It's I don't know, man. But I mean the closest thing that I can think of like combining those would be,
Mm-hmm.
and again, this is like kind of a stretch, but like documentary filmmaking
Okay.
with like still having that like story creation on my end
Mm-hmm.
and like the visuals that I want to like show and portray with also like I sometimes I hear music and I'm like, this is the scene where these two people do this. And like you know how it just plays in
Yeah.
your head what the song looks like, if that
Oh,
makes
for
sense?
sure.
yeah, I've always been able to like do that when I listen to music. So I think that's like a place where I could potentially do both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily acting, but still like acting is storytelling. And
Yeah.
so it's storytelling in a different medium.
Oh, for sure. And I've seen that also through Maggie Rogers, especially when she originally came out with the whole masterclass with Pharrell and everything. He asked her, "Do you have any visuals to go along with it?" She's like, "I have it all planned out," and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And she's been someone that's been very visual, uh, like when she went on SNL, matched with her perfect voice. She has
Mm-hmm.
these uh, very interesting dances and costumes that go with what she's actually doing. And I think that plays into what you're saying of um, taking that performance and that storytelling and not just doing it in what you're doing with your voice, but what you're showing to the audience. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, for sure. I love Maggie. She's
She's a queen.
truly the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
for
produces
sure.
everything. She writes everything. She has a handle on it. It's great to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are you really excited for once quarantine's over? I know you said you wanted to go to a bunch of concerts. Hopefully everything opens back up. But what else is holding your interest or making you excited for when everything's over?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like the concerts,
Hmm.
and just like hearing music live again is going to be truly amazing. But I turned 21 on March 3rd, and
Happy
then
birthday.
everything went. Thank you. That was like 3 months ago now.
I mean, I said
And
it
then
back then too.
everything.
That's okay.
Thanks, Tommy. But everything went to shit. So I went to the bars like twice,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I mean, it's not like I'm so torn up because I can't go to the bars. But again, I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, I'm 21. I want to go out with my friends.
And have some fun, of
So I'm
course.
I'm really excited to like introduce that aspect of like
Hmm.
party fun into my life, because I do like to hang out with my pals and do
Good.
fun things. So that's a big one. And also brunch. I really miss going out to brunch. I love
A
brunch.
queen of brunch.
The queen of brunch,
You know,
honestly. There's nothing like it, like you don't have a bad day after you go to brunch.
I've never experienced, so
Uh,
there's only one way to find out, go to
Go to
brunch,
brunch
see what the day's
safely.
like.
Just yeah, safely though. We're gonna wait a while before I
Oh, of
go
course.
out and do anything. Yeah.
How has Nebraska been with all these restrictions and everything? I know New Jersey, we're kind of near the epicenter of everything on the East Coast. Being in Middle America, what's that transition been like? Is it very strict? Is it kind of lenient?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to keep up with everything.
Mm,
I feel like things change like every minute, but
mm,
there was no initially like strict stay-at-home orders put in place.
mm,
So a lot of it was like by the goodwill of yourself, stay home,
yeah.
even though there's no like external force keeping you there. And so, like, I know all of my family and friends were very, very, still are very serious about staying home,
Mm,
not even hanging out with friends, because they're still like, you go to your friend's house and then your friend goes to their friend's house, and it's
yeah,
like,
you never know.
you never know. Um, so, yeah, I mean, people are, I think, still being pretty cautious. But again, there are businesses that I guess have to open.
Yeah, of
So like
course.
restaurants are open for the
Mm,
50% capacity
okay.
dining. I personally don't know anybody that is participating in dining
Mm,
out, but I mean, like, I drive by and I see restaurants pretty full. So I think it's just kind of the next couple months will show
the
how
results of
how
what
this.
actually may happen. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, what
But
have you been doing? Oh, sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say the for school and stuff. I know Seton
Mm,
Hall released their plan for fall semester, and UNL recently released that we are modifying pretty similar to Seton Hall
okay, good.
in that we're returning a week earlier and then done by Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
So it's gonna be wild, weird to like with
Interesting time.
no
Yeah,
breaks in between, like
it's just gonna be a
um,
straight through run.
straight through run. It's gonna be pretty intense and very different. Um, again, with change comes opportunity, though. So we'll
Yeah,
see what
just got to make the
happens.
most of it, and you're going to
Yeah.
be okay. It's going to be your senior year. Hopefully
Thank you.
just make the most of it. Spend a lot
Yeah.
of time with your friends while you're there.
Yeah.
What have you been doing this during the quarantine? I know we've been talking about music a little bit. What have you been watching? What have you been doing day to day?
Oh yeah. So many shows I have watched.
That's
So
great.
many. Yeah, I started with Teen Wolf, if
Nice.
you're familiar.
Sam has been watching it a ton, and she's telling me every day, this
With
person's
Teen Wolf?
doing this. Oh, yeah.
Honestly, give her my number. I would love to chat about it.
Oh, I will.
Anybody
Don't
that
you
wants to
worry.
talk Teen Wolf, call me. Just call me. So yeah, Teen Wolf, Vampire Diaries.
Mhm.
I love that kind of stuff. And then also, I'm a sitcom kind of gal, so like
Okay.
I rewatched Kimmy Schmidt. If you've
I
watched,
watched the first couple episodes, and I thought it was hilarious. I just never continued through with it.
see, and that breaks my heart because I feel like everybody says that, but you just gotta like keep going because I
Hmm.
feel like the humor in it is so outrageous the way it's written
Yeah.
and the characterization of each of them.
Hmm.
And also there's just like no reoccurring straight white men. Like there's no
Yeah.
like staple. So I'm just like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like we don't need to hear that anymore. Like I wanna watch something else. These
Yeah.
strong women. So I love that. And then
Good.
also, so Tina Fey like created that. And
Hmm.
then so I started watching 30 Rock.
I've never seen it, but I've only heard great things. I feel like everything she touches turns to gold.
Literally, she's amazing. And she's like the main person in that
Hmm.
show. So it's phenomenal. Cause like she's writing the jokes and then she gets to like be the
Perform
actor in
it. She
it.
knows
Yeah,
exactly how she
perform
wants it
it.
done. That's kind of how I
Exactly.
felt about Fleabag on Amazon Prime. She's writing everything, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she has such a handle on what's about to happen. I think
Yeah.
that show's amazing.
Yeah. I love that. And then this is a weird one, but I
Hmm.
just recently started watching Below Deck.
That's a
It's a reality TV show.
We TV show, right? I think.
Oh, We TV?
I don't know. That might be
It's
something on
like
the East Coast, but I don't.
it's like Bravo
Oh, that's what it
or
is.
something.
Sure, I
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
it's within those channel ranges.
Yeah. But it's so interesting. Basically, like it's the super yacht, and
Yeah,
then they have like a new like group of people that come on like every 3 days, but the crew stays the same.
yeah, it's
And
really
there's
interesting, actually.
so much drama, and yeah, it's really interesting. And then of course Outer Banks.
Everybody's
Have you
been
heard the
on
hype?
this train, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay it any attention. I kind of did the same with Tiger King because I was like, I don't want to feed
Well,
into it.
that one I have problems with just for like the animal content that I just don't. Why would I want to watch that?
And the people are kind of awful, It's okay.
Right. If there's no redeeming character, like I'm
I can't
sorry.
do it.
Like I get that it's real life or whatever, but like
That makes
I
it
want somebody
worse.
to root for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Kidding.
So how's Outer
Yeah.
Banks?
Okay, I love it. Like, and I love it as a joke, but also like not a joke.
Hmm.
I hate to say
Big fan
it.
of reality TV.
No, like I don't really. Well, I like reality TV when they have like British accents. Love Island, I could watch all day. I love Love Island.
Accents make everything better.
Truly, mate.
Oh my
Truly.
god.
I've been working on mine. How is it?
It's pretty amazing if you ask me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. But yeah, how about you? Anything you're watching,
The
doing?
only thing since the last few episodes that I've been watching has been Community, and I've heard great things about Community. I mean, it started in, I believe, '09 and lasted until, I believe, 2015, and it's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a group of random diverse people in a community college, and it's so politically incorrect that it's exactly what I need right now. I feel like all comedy is going towards that politically
Yeah,
correct stuff when it comes to TV shows. And it's
yeah,
definitely something that can't be made today, but I'm so
yeah,
glad I'm watching it in today's space.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but it
That's
has
how I feel
Donald
about.
Glover and
Oh, I love
Joel
that show.
McHale, Ken Jeong,
Mm-hmm.
Allison Brie, Jillian Jacobs. I think it's so funny. I'm 2 days in. I'm halfway through season 2. I'm
There
probably
you
gonna
go.
watch it right after this.
There
And
you go. I know.
it's
I'm like ready to watch Below Deck after this. I might be obsessed. It's fine.
Hey, it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. It's the time to binge. What else is there to do?
Well, actually, exercise.
Oh,
I'd like to know your routine.
my routine.
Yes.
So 4 days a week I've been doing yoga. It's called DDP yoga. He's a former like professional
DDP.
wrestler.
Okay.
And he kind of makes it so that guys don't feel bad that you're doing yoga, but you're still
Yeah.
getting those still same poses and everything like that, but with
Right.
different terms and everything like that to make it, he's not your mama's yoga, but like, I still think it's
Interesting.
great.
Yeah.
Thankfully I've lost like 20 pounds in 2 months and
Hell yeah.
it's been a great feeling. I do some biking, somewhere between like 8 to 10 miles whenever I actually
Hmm.
do it. And intermittent fasting. I eat between 12 and 8, and that's it. And it's usually just 2 meals. A lot of drinking water, a lot of
Wow.
discipline.
Yeah, I got a hydro flask at the beginning of quarantine.
Perfect. Stay hydrated.
Changed my life, honestly. Yes. Stay hydrated.
What's your
Wow.
routine now?
Okay, so I got on the Chloe Ting train,
The what?
and the Chloe Ting. Have you heard of her?
No, I haven't.
Well, let me tell you. She does like all free workout programs on YouTube.
Oh,
She has them on
interesting.
her website, and there's like a ton of different like options. So she's got like 25-day plans for like a shredded like full ab situation, or you can do like just your hips, your waistline, blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. So my friends were doing the 2-week shred, and I was like, that seems like a good like introduction because I want to start doing like at home workouts.
Good.
And so I finished it. But
Nothing.
also, I am not eating great. I do go to Dairy Queen quite often.
I don't blame you. I
And
mean, ice cream's so good.
it's so good. It's so
It's like
good.
the perfect way to end your day too.
It really is. You're just like, and now with like not leaving the house, except for
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, I do go to drive-thru because like I'm gonna go get ice cream, you know?
I
Like
get you. Hey, there's nothing wrong with a little treat.
nothing, but every day. Then it's just like, girl, you gotta stop. You gotta stop.
It's okay.
But yeah, I have to go get my what is it? What do I get? Like like a Reese's peanut butter cup blizzard, the chocolate
Oh,
ice cream.
classic. Absolute banger of a treat.
Banger. Truly. So yeah, I've been trying Chloe Ting. And then I walk around. Again, we have a lot of lakes by my
Mm-hmm.
house, but they're not like big, so it's like a 3 to 5 mile walk depending on which one you go to.
Hey, there's nothing wrong
Um,
with that.
yeah, so I've been doing that and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what I do. And then okay, also, do you watch ASMR?
I don't. I think it's very interesting, but not for me.
Are you not a stan? An
I
ASMR stan?
can't say I am.
That's another thing I got into. So like I'll end my day with ice cream and then like end my day at night with ASMR. And honestly, I kind of want to like buy a good mic and try it. Just so like mindless, but like relaxing, you know?
Is it like the people eating? Is it just the little
No,
sounds?
no,
The
no.
eating thing is the weirdest thing.
Okay, I'm not gonna judge anyone for liking that, but like I just like, do you want me to eat this fortune cookie? Like, no, I'm not
I'm
gonna do
okay.
that. I'm not gonna watch that. And then there's some people who like take it to the extreme. Like there's one really famous person,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll like color coordinate what they eat. And my sister made me watch one. I was so uncomfortable. I
It's
didn't
so
like it.
cringy. I can't do it.
That one, that's so cringy, yeah. But like, there's this one girl that I love, and she'll do like spa treatments,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it's like skincare too. I started getting into like skincare stuff.
Gotta stay healthy.
Very, gotta stay healthy. Gotta stay. You want that glow, you know. But yeah, so she'll like do like her skincare treatment, but it just
Mhm.
so happens that she's like, and it's relaxing. I don't know.
Interesting. Hey, whatever works for you. Whatever helps you
Try
go
it
to
out.
sleep at
Try
night.
it out.
Can't say I
Honestly, it does
will.
help me sleep. So that's why I use it.
I just
Yeah.
use a nice fan during the night to help me knock out. I think that's all the ASMR I need.
Yeah. It's not
Anything else
terrible.
you've been watching? Any questions for me? Anything else you want to talk about?
My friend asked me a really good question the other day,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna ask it to you.
Okay.
if you could have one song be about you, what song would it be?
I actually answered this on your IG story,
Yeah, yeah.
and I said "Time Alone with You" or "Feel," because both of those songs make me feel good.
Yeah.
It's also just really sweet songs, in my opinion. One's more about like a just really romantic, nice relationship, in my opinion, with "Feel," and "Time Alone with You" is just spending time with someone and having a good time. And um, I think we need more of that in life. So I feel like if that was about me, if someone sang that to me, serenaded me, I'd be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What were your
Yeah.
choices?
Very, very good choices. I wrote them down. Let me see what I said. I had like a bunch for like different contexts, you know?
Hmm. I totally get
But
that.
let's see. Oh, I don't think I wrote them down. But one of them is the song called Truly Madly Deeply
Hmm.
by like Yokelore.
I feel like I've heard of that song. I don't know the band at all, but I feel like I've heard of that song. That's
It's
a
just
very unique title of a song, so I feel like it's stuck in my head.
it's just about like the beautiful like experiences of nature, but
Hmm.
like with another person, and like watching the ocean and driving through the mountains, and like how beautiful the world is, but how beautiful it would be to experience with someone else. And like, I want
Real
that.
tears.
Real tears.
Yeah. That's a great question, and I think a lot of the
It's
people
a
that's
good question.
watching this should say what their song is in the comment section below.
Comment below what
Oh,
song you want to
I
be about you.
I don't like being that person, but I kind of have to be with the podcast space. It's like, oh, comment below, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the
Subscribe,
notification bell.
like, oh, hello, subscribe to
Uh,
this channel.
any other questions before we end this show?
Are you happy?
Actually, this has been the happiest I've been. I think quarantine has actually really helped me. Like I said, I've lost weight. I've been able to focus on my mental health and everything like that. And I've been trying to take advantage of this time without having a job, without having to look for a job and all that. I know
Mhm.
once everything clears up and the job market opens again, it's going to be stressful. So I'm trying to take advantage of this time and everything like that. So I appreciate that question. Are you happy? I'm going to throw it back at you.
I knew this was coming. I shouldn't have asked if I
Yeah, no,
didn't
you
have an
shouldn't have
answer
asked.
ready. Um, I mean, surface, yeah. Like again,
Mhm.
I'm in a very, very privileged situation to be able to be at home, at my parents' house, with food, access to food, water, essentials.
Mhm.
And I get to again like spend a lot of time with my sisters. And I usually like I wouldn't have this opportunity if we were full steam ahead, kind of
Yeah, of
living the
course.
lives that we were. So yeah, again, it's like I just feel very lucky and fortunate to be in the position that I am in all of the circumstances that are
Mhm.
going on right now in the world. So yeah, happy about that.
Good. You should be. And if you
Yeah.
ever need anything, you always feel free to text or call. But this will wrap it for the episode. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to our special guest, Olivia Klein. And like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.